All right, jabronis, we're back. Happy Halloween week to everybody. Hopefully you guys can guess what I am for Halloween. I got to do some plugging in here to make sure I got the battery life for you guys here. In case you didn't notice, I'm Con Air. That's not the name of the guy. It's obviously Cameron Poe, but Nic Cage's character in Con Air. I got this wig, and it really is kind of a little bushy, so I just look like a Neanderthal and not, you know, the sleek look of Nic Cage and Con Air. But and it's close enough. I got the guinea tee on. I have the wherewithal. I got the deadly weapons right here. So we're in business, you know. Now, if I can wet this is a wig. You can't really wet a wig. I think it would look a lot better. But we're going with the beardless Jesus Cameron Poe look, and that's what we're doing this year. So I still haven't seen anybody's haunted house or anything like that. Hopefully you guys have some Halloween costumes you can send over, and I'll post them up throughout the week on the Instagram and the Facebook and what have yous, so I can see what everyone was wearing and what they were going as. I know a couple of people out there have reached out and told me what they're going to be doing, so I would love to see the photos of that, and then, you know, see if we can post them up for everyone to see, because some of them are really great ideas. I was excited to hear about them, so don't forget to do that. And then while you're at it, if you're on the internet, you might as well just like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies, do a little push notifications, don't forget. That's how we spread the good word of the LPDS here. So like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. Call the hotline, 202-670-1114. We'll talk about some more hotline stuff later on, actually. I think I got it working, so we'll see how it goes. But before we move on, it's been, what, 2 weeks now, a week and a half since the Yankees' embarrassing sweep against the Astros. They got swept, not the Astros. So you all have to hear me bitch about them anymore until they make their next bad move, which is probably going to be any day now, when they decide that they think the team is still good and they're not going to make any big moves. They'll probably not sign Aaron Judge anymore. So he'll be with a different team, and then they'll be stuck with the rabble they currently have, thinking that they're good, thinking they got unlucky missing out on the World Series again, even though they've lost to the Astros like 6 times in a row in the playoffs because they suck. The Yankees suck. They need to do something different. Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner need to do something different. Aaron Boone, be a man. Do something. God. Anyway, the Giants are still rolling, sucking their way to the Super Bowl, so we always got good news out of that. There's always some good news. This hair is really annoying. I don't know how Cameron Poe was able to do it. That's why he's a true warrior and a hero, and I am a putz. But, yeah, good news in the sports world. The Giants are still rolling, and good news overall. I mean, in general, we got a good life. We got Halloween that just happened this past week, so things are good. Things are good. I hope everybody had a good previous week. I know I did, staying busy with stuff. Always trying to stay busy, getting steps in, doing exercise, all that crap. Another pseudo big announcement. That's right, Randy groaning in the background. He knows. I am now officially out of the active duty military and have transitioned into the Air National Guard. So that's exciting stuff. I haven't actually had to show up to guard stuff yet. Easy, Randy. So, see, he's excited. He's an excitable guy. So once I do that, I'll let you know how it goes. And the next chapter in life, that's all it is. So I hope everybody else has an exciting next chapter coming up for them, because that's what we like to do here at the LPDS. We like to discuss our positive aspects in life, the exciting things going on, as opposed to focusing on the negative. I'll bitch about the negative for, a little bit here and there, and then we get it out, it's vented, it's gone, and then it's all positivity from there on out. So tell me about your positive experiences lately, your next chapters, what you guys got going on in your lives. Do it in the hotline. Tell me about it. hit me in the DMs, whatever you got to do. It's nice to hear when other people are doing well, so I want to hear about it. I want to hear from you guys. So, all right. With that, we'll get right into it. We'll keep it no nonsense, hopefully, and we'll get to the fun stuff. So we'll just step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Barry's Bunnies. Are you looking to get your young daughter who you never met a thoughtful gift for her birthday, but you've been in prison for the past several years because you accidentally killed a man in self-defense with your bare hands that are legally considered deadly weapons? Well, fear not, because Barry's Bunnies has you covered. By ordering a stuffed bunny from Barry, you're guaranteed shipment direct to your prison cell. Additionally, Barry promises that each plush bunny will remain mostly intact even if it's taken out of the box. It's also made with a patented fabric that allows you to wash out any dirt or blood stains with ease. So to make a great first impression on your child today, call Barry's Bunnies at 1-800-BILLY-BEDLAM and use the promo code HowCanILiveWithoutYou for 2.9% off. They also accept collect charges. So if you got to make a phone call from the clink, Barry will still take care of you. That's their guarantee, which is considerate, to say the least. All right, the cage fact. I was going to give a Con Air fact because I'm Cameron Poe from Con Air, obviously, by this stupid wig. But I got an update. We got an update here. It is now official that Nic Cage is in legitimate real talks. Not just rumors anymore. He is in talks, initial stage talks, to do potentially a National Treasure sequel of some sort. There's no information on whether it's National Treasure 3, which has been in discussions on and off for 15 years now, or he's going to be part of the Disney Plus show that's coming out. The first season's coming out in December. Maybe he'll be part of the second season or something. There's no indication of what it's going to be yet, but he's confirmed that he's in talks with them. Before they were asking, he's like, nah, no one's reached out to me, blah, blah, blah. So that's it. We don't know anything else. We know that the wheels are turning. The wheels are in motion, even if they're slow and not go. All right, that's the cage fact. We're going to move right on along. We're going to keep this brief because we know everyone wants to get out. If you're listening to this on Halloween, you want to go get out and get your candy and do your parties and your how you doings. So we're going to try to keep this brief. I will probably not make that happen. But, all right, we'll spin the junction. We'll go up, get going. Halloween. The first holiday to kick off the Holy Holiday Triumvirate. The best time of year when it comes to holidays. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or Hanukkah, whatever other gift-giving holiday you celebrate around the December time frame. There's none better. For especially as a kid, there is none better. You get candy and dress up. You get a smorgasbord of food and desserts on Thanksgiving. And then you get more food and gifts from the big man upstairs on Christmas. Or the holiday armadillo and Hanukkah, whatever. So you can't beat that. You cannot beat this time of year as a kid. Off from school, all the holidays you get off from school, everything. You can't beat it with a stick. And as an adult, I know we grow to hate holidays because, especially if you have kids, now you got to do all the prep work for it, and you don't get to enjoy the holidays anymore. It's tough, I get it. But here, at least for the 30 minutes to an hour a week during this time on the LPDS, you get to escape from the realities and the actual stressors of holiday time, meeting with your shitty family you don't like, getting gifts for kids you don't even like, buying candy for a bunch of piss pants kids who are just going to be ungrateful and try to get their grubby little paws in the whole bag instead of just taking one. I get it. It's tough. But that's why the escape is here. That's why we're doing this week in and week out. So you can turn your brain off, have entertainment, laugh a little bit, and learn a little bit. And grow, and be happy and healthy, and what have you. So, Halloween. Great holiday. It's top 3 for me, clearly. I love, as you know, getting into it. It's another year, unfortunately, that I don't have a place of my own, or I'm not at the place that I usually live at to create the haunted house and get the candy to the children and have a good time with it all, or have a family to do any of that stuff with. So, but one day I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have the house and be able to create that cool little haunted house looking vibe, so that when kids and families come and pick up their candy on Halloween, they can enjoy their time. I did actually think about doing that here in the dungeon. Now imagine that. Damn it, I probably should have thought of that earlier. Imagine I direct the families not to the front of the house, but have signs pointing the candies back here through this cool little maze, if you will, and then they come into this dungeon. And I don't even have to decorate it with anything. They just walk in. I'll keep the lights dimly lit like this. There's holes in the ceiling. We got this rubble of an old condemned haunted house looking thing. We can have my parents up top screaming and yelling about God knows what. Are the Giants playing on Monday? Maybe they're playing on, maybe if, by the time you listen to this, it'll be over, but maybe the Monday Night Football game on Halloween, they'll be screaming and cursing and yelling, so that'll be a nice little scary sound effect, if you will. We'll have, Randy barking and trying to nose at everybody's crotches, the random bugs and creatures that are crawling around here. Damn, that would have been good. The heater, the coil heaters just crackle and make sounds at night when the heat's on. I could put out all the World War II magazines that my father's been collecting for all the gruesome, grotesque images of blood and guts and gore. Damn it, I should have done that. This is the perfect dungeon for that. I can't believe I forgot about it. There's a raincoat behind the screen here. You can't see it, but behind there's a coat rack with a raincoat that Jack the Ripper wore in Last Action Hero. This would have been perfect. Damn it. I probably have some skeletons lying around somewhere in here. Old World War II helmets. Man, that would have been good. This is what we do. This is one of the many things we do here. We live and learn. I identified a mistake I made, and now I know for the future how to be better. Do this stuff earlier. Use the brain earlier. I apologize for that. Imagine a Halloween episode with a haunted dungeon here. Man, that would have been great. But again, learn from your mistakes. All right. A couple weeks ago, I had special guest Bone Crusher on, and we lightly touched on Mischief Night. And he never heard of it. It was not a thing in Maryland, apparently, so I decided to do a little reconnaissance and intel gathering to figure out why that was, why it wasn't popular. Now, I found out some pretty good details about that. Apparently, Mischief Night... Is there a delay in the audio here? What the hell's going on? I'll try to fix it in post. Whatever. Mischief Night currently is mainly a New Jersey thing. We joked about it previously. It must be a Jersey thing. That's what all the Guidos say, and South Park was joking about in their one episode about Jersey. Apparently it is. There are some other states that do it. Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, parts of Delaware, and then up in Michigan, they kind of do a little bit of Mischief Night. Nowhere else in the country do they actually really care or pay attention to it. Apparently, that's what the folklore says. Now, it started. There's not a lot of... Let me caveat this. There's not a lot of history on Mischief Night that's like written and set in stone. It's all based on folklore and different how you doings like that, word of mouth, discussion points, and basically made up. Whoever said it, we just have to believe them. It's like the Bible. and I know it's going to piss off a lot of the crazy Catholics out there, but it's word of mouth that somebody put into writing, and now we just have to believe it. So it started in the 1700s, I think 1790, over in Europe, I want to say, England probably. It was this professor who did a thing with his students based off of like some play that they were reading about, and it had to do with Ode to Fun and this and that. And he encouraged this. This hair is so freaking annoying. I'm whisking it away like I'm a flirtatious gal, like a lass on a dating app. He started this to have fun with the kids and get them excited about the play and all this other how you doings, and it sort of took off from there. There's a bunch of different names for it. I wrote them down. Devil's Night, which is mostly in Michigan now. Gate Night, Goosey Night, I don't know what the hell that is. Moving Night, Mat Night. Now those are sort of similar. Moving Night got its origins because historically people have, on Mischief Night, they would move people's stuff off their porches to other people's houses and pull the old switcheroo on people's porch furniture and stuff. And then Mat Night is similar in that they do is just take the doormats from people's front doors and pull the swapsies. Harmless fun. Very harmless, innocuous, kind of mischievous fun, if you will. Now, it eventually made its way to the States and became a thing prior to Halloween, the night before Halloween. And this was before, obviously, you had automatic lighting on people's houses and things like that. All the new technologies and the what the hell are those doorbell cameras called? Crap, not Nests. Ring doorbells, where you have cameras and surveillance and stuff where you can see the mischief going on and stop it in its tracks. Before that, Mischief Night, at least in New Jersey, was if your house light, your front door porch house light was off the night before Halloween, people were doing stuff to your house. Whatever that may be. It was, they would TP your trees in your house. They'll throw eggs at your house or your car. They'll use bars of soap to write stuff on your car, draw dongs and peepees and stuff. What else? Powder bombs, like flour powder bombs on your vehicle. Again, seemingly innocuous mischief. The thing with TP and egg in houses and stuff like that is the pain in the ass it is to clean up. When you get egg on someone's car, or you wet powder and powder bomb someone's car, or TP their trees, it's easy to do it. It's terribly difficult to clean it all up. You can't just pull TP out of trees. That shit's weak. It'll rip on the branches and just get stuck up there, and you're stuck with TP trees. TPTs, TPTDs. So it's a bit of a nightmare. And that was the consequence you paid, the sort of harmless consequence you paid if you didn't have your light on. And that now, I think it's probably gone by the wayside a little bit more, because you walk up to a house with no lights on, the lights pop on automatically. And then the surveillance cameras are going, and you're toast. You can't TP anything. You might get one toss of a TP or an egg before you're busted, or you got to run away. So that's probably why it's not as popular anymore. There was a couple other innocuous things that people would do historically on Mischief Night. One of them was called Ring and Run. I think people are familiar with that. There are other names for it. I forgot what they called it in England, like Knock Knock Ginger or something like that. Look, the Brits, God love them, strange bunch. All right, Knock Knock Ginger is a terrible name. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe they were just going to houses of redheads and knocking on their door and running away. We called it Ring and Run. There's not Dine and Dash, but it's similar. You just knock and dash. Where you ring the bell of someone's house and you run away and hide and watch them look in befuddlement, trying to find out who did that. Now, we used to do that as kids. When I was part of the Killer Peepees bicycle gang, all over the town, any day of the week. We would just hopefully someone was home in the middle of summer, in the middle of a weekday afternoon, and we would do the old ring and run, and we would be on our bicycle so we can get out a little bit quicker. And we thought we were cool guys. We were the Killer Peepees. We were unstoppable. That also turned out to not be true because we did end up getting busted, and I got in trouble for it. So, lesson learned there. But I want to talk a little bit about how Mischief Night sort of devolved in certain areas of the country. Now, in the 80s, in Michigan, they call it Devil's Night. And it's because things started to get out of hand to the point in Detroit, shocker, people would have sort of like riot/parades where they would all go out in public in the streets and do like mini riots around for mischief in the name of Mischief Night, which they call Devil's Night. I think New Orleans does something similar. I think it's a little bit more organized down in New Orleans. They try to have a party with it. But there is some destruction going on. And in Detroit, it actually turned into... Devil's Night was coined not because they named it that initially, because it got so out of hand, that's what it became. Because they started lighting fires in buildings and houses and stuff. Okay? Leave it to the tough guys in Detroit to start committing arson on Mischief Night and quote-unquote good, clean family fun. So they call it Devil's Night. And then it eventually got to the point where people had to respond to that, and they created what was called Angel's Night, which actually spanned a few nights leading up to Halloween, where groups of, sort of like a neighborhood watch, except in the ghetto, where they would go around to try to prevent the arsons from happening. They would go and police the areas because the cops are clearly nowhere to be found in these areas. And they would go and try to stop arsons before they happened. Or death and destruction before it got out of hand. I don't know if that's still going on now, but it's Mischief Night every night in Detroit. Or Detroit, or however you pronounce it. The place is in shambles. Whoever's leading that city is garbage, to say the least. Every night is Mischief Night. There's no Halloween. There's no cleanup. There's no holiday. It's just Mischief Night. It's just Devil's Night every night. They're shooting and they're hooting and hollering and burning down buildings, and all in the name of good, clean fun and camaraderie with the other drug kingpins and what have yous. We're going to move on to another area that is historically, how do I put this, unsavory, I guess. And that's good old NJ itself in Camden, New Jersey. Again, leave it to the most dangerous, despicable, deplorable, impoverished areas. And I sort of don't blame them at times, honestly. They're fed up with the lack of safety and security and the fact that their leadership doesn't give a shit about them. And they're using different things like Mischief Night as an excuse to go out and get wild. And boy, did they ever. Camden, New Jersey in the 90s had their own little Devil's Night of arson and mayhem and rioting and chaos. And I forgot what they said. It was like 15 or so buildings in like a single block. They just lit the block on fire. That's what they did. They just went down with Molotov cocktails and gasoline and matches and just started lighting places up. So that had to be put, I don't know, that had to be put to rest, I think. Maybe they had to tone things down. Maybe that's another reason why Mischief Night is not as popular anymore, is because it got so out of hand. People were just like, I think we went too far here. Because I haven't seen it historically around the neighborhoods in a long time. In the early 90s, though, it would be like Christmas for the eyeballs as a kid. You would look around the neighborhood to see whose house got hit and how ornate the toilet paper scheme was on the trees. And if they got windows, if they hit the windows with the eggs or the powder bombs, or if they drew a really good veiny triumphant pee-pee on somebody's vehicle with a bar of soap. That's what we looked forward to in the morning of Halloween before we got to go out and get our candy, was who had the most decorated house, if you will. It hasn't been like that in years. I don't remember seeing a TP'd house or any sort of vandalism in a long time. And I think it's because it got so out of hand across these couple of states that do it: PA, Delaware, New York, Michigan. Michigan is a real weird place. I think Detroit was just looking for an excuse to cause chaos, and they just said, we'll just partake in Mischief Night. But, I mean, if you read up on it historically, things got out. It was just like rioting. Like it was in 2020 or whenever it was with all the summer riot season of throwing, breaking down glass in buildings, vandalism, graffiti, fights, doing fights in the streets. Whatever it was just nuts. It became nuts, and every year it was nuts. I don't know what happened to that. Maybe because I don't pay attention anymore, and because it didn't happen in Maryland the last 6 years I lived there. I don't know. But now that I'm back, I'm down in the dungeon in New Jersey. Maybe I'll see some TP somewhere and some good old-fashioned fun again. Because I kind of miss it. I never partook in that. I did the ring and run with the killer peepees, but I didn't do Mischief Night because I was too scared of the consequences. And not getting picked up by the police. In fact, I would have preferred that. A night in the clink as a juvenile, they got to take, at the time they were taking care of you at least a little bit. They weren't putting you with the rapists and the pedos. You were with a bunch of kids. You can go hang out and do thumb war and play pogs and whatever. I was afraid of Crazy Carol and JPL 3. First, my mother would have probably choked me to within an inch of my life, rightfully so. I would not consider that assault. I would consider that discipline. And then when I came to my senses and got conscious, my dad probably would have sued me. He would have slapped a lawsuit on me because that's what he does. He handles things in the legal sense, and then he also does it to people who can't pay him any actual cash. So he would sue me for probably some sort of cleaning service around the house for the next 10 years, where I would have to vacuum and clean the entire house by myself for 10 years straight. Even if I went to college, I would have to come back each week to clean up. That would be the terms of the settlement. And then I would have to hire him as my lawyer because I couldn't afford a real lawyer. And he would double screw me. That's what they call the double do. And I'd still be cleaning. This dungeon would probably be pristine because I'd have to clean it up. So I didn't want that. So I didn't do any actual mischief myself. I just enjoyed the show at the end. But one year, our house got picked off. And it wasn't because we were lazy or we didn't prepare at all. The street light or the porch light in our house at the time went out in the middle of the night. After the kids were asleep, we were all asleep, and I think my parents just weren't, they were watching probably Law and Order or something. And the bulb went out just in time for the mobs to see it. And then they waited for my parents to go to bed, and the living room lights to shut off, and the house was dark. Woke up the next morning. I mean, it had to have been like 20, 25 rolls of TP were used because our house was loaded with trees. So they just TP'd every tree. Every tree looked like White Christmas of TP. Absolutely loaded. Big, huge oak trees and maple trees and pine trees. Big, tall trees. Every inch of these trees was hit with TP. Every inch. And it wasn't that bad compared to some of the other houses who got egged and their cars got donged and the powder bombs. It was just TP, but because we had so many trees, it was a nightmare. And I honestly don't even remember what my parents did to clean it up. I don't know if they had to call a guy or if they got my grandparents to help. I'm just trying to imagine JPL2 looking like Squidward and Elmer Fudd combined, climbing up pine trees to take TP down. So I don't know what they did. I don't know how they got it down. I know they mounted an investigation to find out who did it, as if they were going to do something about it. We had this neighbor who was a kid. He was older than me. He was probably in middle school at the time when I was still in like first grade. And they did a pretty decent interrogation because I was watching it through the window. He was on the front porch of our house, and they were doing a pretty good job at trying to get, put the squeeze on him for information. And they narrowed it down to people he knew, but not necessarily his pals or friends. So we will never find out if he was the one who alerted them. He was the one doing the recon and the surveillance on the house and be like, oh, the lights are out, it's go time, and then let them go and take the rap for it. Could have been that. I don't think so, though, because he was sweating bullets getting interrogated by my old man. I think he squealed as much as he could, because he definitely would have admitted to it, because he was shaking. He had beads of sweat coming down. We're talking the middle of October in New Jersey. It's not warm outside. And he's sweating out a pretty good amount. And we never found out. We never found the culprits. But we cleaned it up. That was the only time we got hit. And from then on out, we vowed to make sure our street lights and our porch lights were always at the ready. I think my dad even had like a baseball bat or some sort of bludgeon-type weaponry at the front door to be ready in case it was showtime, in case he had to go out and take care of business. Now, I don't know if he would have beat the shit out of a kid with a baseball bat just for TP and some trees, but he said he was ready. He's ready to get crazy, and that's what happens on Mischief Night. Things get crazy. And it makes complete sense to me that this is a Jersey thing, because the people in New Jersey always take things to the next level, for better or worse. And that's what I think they did. I think they took it to the next level. I think my father was also ready to take it to the next level if he had to, because I don't think there would be a cop in the county that would have given him a hard time for beating the piss out of some jack-off in early 90s New Jersey for trying to vandalize a house. Back in the day, if a kid got caught vandalizing and he got his ass beat for it, that was the punishment. The person doing the ass beating didn't get in trouble. They didn't get picked up by the cops. If the cops were called, they went to the kid and said, hey, that's what you get for vandalizing. Go home. Tell your parents or they'll beat the shit out of you again. Nowadays, kids are protected. If they go and vandalize and my old man beats the shit out of them with a Jackie Robinson wood bat, my father's going to jail. And we probably have to keep that TP on our trees for another year, some sort of probationary period, to celebrate the artwork that the kid accomplished, because he's so gifted and talented with the TP tossing. But man, I would have loved to have seen my old man back in his healthier days just taking that. He had a Jackie Robinson baseball bat that he used to use, and it was like a 5-foot long bat. It had to be like a 60-inch bat. It was 15 pounds of just alpha. That's the only way to describe it. Just an alpha bat that. It's called the Jackie Robinson bat because Jackie Robinson, that was his model. That was his custom bat. It wasn't his specific bat, obviously. It's just a model you could go buy. Hey, let me get the Jackie Robinson model of Louisville Slugger or whatever. And this thing was big. It was a bludgeon. I remember it. It had a thick handle, like a black dong, and then the thing was just towering. It looked like a cartoon bat, like that tree that guy was swinging in the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he plays the big dude in the baseball game, and the guy uses a tree. Or maybe Bugs Bunny used a tree. Either way, it was a tree trunk of a bat. And now imagine in the 90s, some grunge kid wearing Jinko jeans comes up and tries to TP our house and he gets busted. Man, he would have been a perfect addition to a haunted house after my father got a hold of him. If he ever got a hold of him. We could have just propped him up. We would have given him a little tracheotomy with a straw or something right there in the neck so that he can keep breathing. And then when kids come the next day to get their candy on Halloween, they could have seen this and be like, oh, this is definitely the most realistic, scary, haunted house that we've seen all night. Very good job. And everyone, we would have been the talk of the town. Instead, this day and age, my father would be going to jail for assaulting a minor, and we'd be drinking, powdered milk again. So I'm glad he's not, he's not in the revenge business anymore. But I forgot one thing. I forgot the hotline stuff. We got a hotline call. I want to talk about it a little bit. But first, let's get into the hotline call and see, because I've been lagging on getting the people out there, their voices heard, because of some technical difficulties. So let's get the hotline out of the way. Let's see what we got here.
John, listen to your recent podcast on your dating exploit. Just trying to follow the Junction's creed of constantly trying to provide solutions. I know you're swinging and missing with the ladies. Just suggestion for you. Have you thought about making a profile for Black People Meet? Just don't upload a profile pic. Maybe you can get away with it for a little while. The other idea is maybe signing up for J-Date. Definitely, if you did a side profile picture, you'd get through easily with that big nose of yours. All right, God bless. Stay strong.
All right, that's a good call. He's not wrong about the J-Date stuff. If you look at my honker here, it's pronounced, to say the least. Now, one thing I've been doing lately, if I have to do something where it's asking me to provide a contact information or a phone number, and I don't want them to have my real contact information, I've been giving people or businesses or whatever the hotline number. Because at the very least, they'll hear the voicemail on the hotline, and maybe that'll inspire them to leave some feedback or ask a question. So I got one message, I think. I don't know how good it is, but it's a message from a business. We'll see what they had to say. Maybe they answered the question, or they asked a question, or maybe they just pressed on with their little snake oil sales pitch. So let's find out.
Hi, this is Joshua from American Home Shield. I'm calling to follow up regarding your online request for more information about our home warranties. Give us a call at 888-682-1171 so you don't miss out on our current discounts and receive the best coverage for your major appliances, systems, and electronics. Any of our home warranties...
All right. We're done with that. We don't need to hear the rest of that. Obviously, the guy didn't care about bettering himself or bettering others here in the LPDS. He only cared about selling homeowners warranty insurance or whatever. So thanks, Joshua. You're a swell guy. I think that's all I got today, folks. Kept it a little, decently short. Before we go, obviously, you want to hit the big three. It's the Halloween season. It's Mischief. We talked about Mischief and being rabble-rousers or what have you, but we have to always remember the big three, which is the pillars and the foundation to staying strong here at the LPDS and being a better, happier, more positive person, and then spreading that goodness to the rest of the world. So number one, exercise every day. No matter what you do that day, no matter how crappy and lazy or busy your day is, do something. Get your steps in. Ride a bicycle, go for a run, do jumping jacks, push-ups, Go beat the shit out of a kid TP in your house. Whatever you got to do to burn the calories and get the endorphins going into your body, you'll be healthier physically, mentally, and emotionally. All right? Number 2 is the hardest one to follow and do is to not be a shitty person. To be a good person instead. So take the step back before you fire off a shit talk text or a social media post against somebody, and remember that there's human beings with their own life stresses and situations going on the other end of those profiles. You don't want to be the person ever, even in the low likelihood of it ever happening, you don't want to be the person who fires off that shit talk message or that dirty negative jab at somebody that is the straw that breaks the camel's back to them doing something terrible to others or to themselves. Because you weren't aware, you weren't empathetic to all the other shit that person might have going on in their lives. If anything, you want to be the opposite. You want to say something nice to that person, so that and then have them say, "Hey, I was getting ready to off myself, but someone, this random stranger said something nice and told me to forget about the hate for a bit, forget the haters, and I took a deep breath and decided not to do anything stupid or harmful to me or others." And that's a low likelihood too. I get it. But I would rather take a chance on doing that and doing good by being nice to people, even if they're strangers, than getting off a good shit talk and being like, I really showed that guy. That was a good jab right there. And then something bad happens. So think about that. Don't be a shitty person. Number 3, the most important one, is to be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. Like the opportunity for me to dress up like a clown every Halloween on camera for you fine people in YouTube land, in Podcastville, every Halloween on the LPDS. It's awesome. It's the only thing I look forward to sometimes each week. If it's a bad week, I know I have this to look forward to each week. So be grateful for the good you have in your lives, because you never know when it's going to be gone. All right, that's all I got now. I hope you guys had a great Halloween. If you have families, I hope your kids had a great Halloween because of your efforts and sacrifices to give them a good Halloween and a good holiday. I hope you guys are preparing well for the rest of the Holy Holiday Triumvirate, and you're being thankful and grateful every day and not just on Thanksgiving itself. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.